Glad to have you stay with us on Osun Elects, the live studio session. My guest is Ziggy Ibe. Ziggy is a public affairs analyst and he's also the head of media and publicity of Group in Lagos State. Ziggy, good afternoon. It's good to have you join me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, the Osun elections have held. It's not yet over because we are still awaiting announcement of the governor-elect by the electoral umpire. But by what you saw on your TV screen, your interaction with people, I mean, how would you describe the conduct of that election?
It's fiercely contested. I'm commending all the contestants. I think so far, so wonderful. My happiness really is the kind of report we are getting. It's calm, it's free, is violent free, you know, and people, Osun people had really conducted themselves in such a manner that it looks like they are really just going to vote one of their own. Okay, and elections, when it comes this way, everybody is happy about it because there's no violence anywhere. Not even to even describe, we have pockets of violence. We never had that. So, and it's commendable.
So that shows the peaceful nature of the people of Osun.
Oh yeah, they are very peaceful, loving people. The way they've conducted themselves is wonderful and is commendable. I wish we are going to have something like this at 2019 general elections.
Throughout the federation.
Yeah, throughout the federation, okay.
Now we must also remember that thousands of security operatives were deployed to man that election.
Yeah, like what I've said here some time ago, if these were the reasons why we are having this peace in Osun State, it should be commendable. Let's begin to have more. It's going to be unfortunate that when we are having a
general
kind of
election,
a general one,
would we have this number of officials deployed to
will not
each
be enough to really
state.
go around in the numbers of states that would the elections will be held.
Like we have it now.
Yeah, but I think what we really need in this point in time is instilling that fear. And what I see more of there is having more knowledge and education about what election is really is. Not really do or die affair. If your own person wins, let the other person who loses show that sportsmanship. Okay, and I think it's wonderful. As we go further, we are going to see the way people have conducted themselves. INEC themselves should be even commended more for the kind of election they've really thrown up in Osun State.
And you know, a number of people have said that the Osun election will be a test case for INEC to know how ready they are for the 2019 general polls.
And do you know one thing I get so excited about? All the card readers behaved themselves.
I swear to all of them.
There was no.
Because there are some of the candidates. There are some candidates who complained about their card readers.
Yeah, the malfunction of the card reader machines were just very.
So should we brush it aside altogether? Should we? Do you think we should brush it aside altogether because you feel it's very minimal?
I'm sure the umpire is going to have a kind of improvement on which areas they think they've lagged in their assessment and work. And the way we have things now, I think we are going to improve on so many areas.
Right, so many areas to improve on. Of course, some of the matters that usually come to mind, you talk about security. Even with the electoral umpire itself, the card readers must be functional to also ensure that the election materials are already printed, especially now when, you know, there have been debates for some time about the INEC budget for the conduct of the elections. And now that we have more political parties participating, remember what we have now is 91.
91, meaning we are going to have 91 91 candidates.
Unless some, you know, there are certain elections where some candidates, some political parties do not field candidates.
Yeah,
they would probably support.
But
yes.
certainly we are going to have a larger number. It's going to be a larger house.
I'm trying to imagine what the ballot paper would look like. I mean, how
it's going to be so lengthy. very lengthy with numbers of faces.
If case isn't taken, I mean, after thumbprinting, it's likely to spill over because how would you fold it in to ensure that?
Well,
INEC has a lot
I
on
think
its hands.
the understanding and the knowledge is still going on. Those who are, there are so many NGOs I know who have taken it upon themselves to really educate the electorates what to do on that very day, how to thumbprint, how to really conduct themselves on ways to thumbprint so that it doesn't spill over to the next phase. Like as I was listening to some of the stories or some of the votes being reeled out, the numbers of invalid votes are so minimal. Do you get that? The numbers of invalid votes are so minimal, such that these people know exactly what to do. And those invalid voters or those invalid numbers might be few mistakes that could easily be corrected. But I think because INEC wouldn't want to manage any situation, wouldn't want to just take any paper, they outrightly will just condemn anywhere they feel it is not rightly done. So the correctness of the exercise is what I think INEC would leverage on and make a better performance next election.
Okay, it's just a few months ago in July specifically that the election, the Ekiti governorship election was held. And one matter that came up so strongly and that received condemnation all around was the issue of vote buying. Some have called it vote trading, some others called it vote merchandising, whatever term we've chosen to tag it. Some individuals were arrested.
In this past one.
Yes. On
Saturday. One wonderful thing again INEC had conquered was the issue of voters inducement. And that comes by way of buying votes and all that. You know, recently the barring voters from going to polling booths was just observed, was just bad, and it worked well, very, very well. And you see, in this election, we might not really, because it's a new tactic, it's a new factor that has really been found to really rear its ugly head in Ekiti election. And they stood up to that challenge. The vote buying we had this just concluded election yesterday was very minimal. The people that were engaged were all rounded up. They were rounded up, meaning that the security agencies were alive to their job. You know, and maybe people certainly kept their eyes watching whoever that will violate this new trend, and they were properly rounded up, meaning that Nigerians are very aware and alive to the duty. It is no longer, if in an electoral environment and everybody becomes a security agent, it works better. And that's what I see in the Osun election. Everybody just talking about it. When they were reeling out some numbers this afternoon on television, and you see people asking questions, very salient questions. When a number is muffled, when a number is not correctly called, you see someone from somewhere far directing the person to really call the number. In the past, you hardly get all this. Do you understand? So
believe there's
awareness,
a change.
yeah, the training, the awareness, and NGOs are doing wonderful jobs. Getting people to know there are really jobs, there are works when it comes to a place where electoral numbers are being called and all that.
What I'm thinking is that, you know, it is these same officers, these same officials who've been in the system before now. So what happened? Was it that each person was just sleeping, you know, before, and they needed some kind of nudge for them to get up and do what they're supposed to do?
That's right. Education, training, and retraining. Education, training, and retraining.
Maybe also about decisiveness on the part of the authorities. Because if there's no decisiveness on the part of the authorities, and if not vehemently, you know, come against those actions, perhaps they would have just gone on. And we're talking about some people who were paraded now. These are just some. What about if others got away with this act?
If they did, but it wasn't as loud as it was in in July,
Ekiti.
Ekiti election. Do you understand? We are just X-raying few, very few that we have got. Yeah, if other ones were not caught, okay. But from the little few they've got, INEC certainly will work and look at how did they get into this and still curb it. So it's all about continuous improving on what they have, you know, and getting the public to know how these things are best done. And I think we are working to that perfectness. Yeah. Then another wonderful thing I observed was the conduct of INEC ad hoc staffs. They are wonderful. The staffers have done the work marvelously. No harassment. The presence of policemen or presence of security agents. I wouldn't give so much credit to security agents, because if there's violence anywhere, I'm sure the security agents themselves would find it very difficult to curb it. But when people conduct themselves in such a way that there will be no work left to be done by these security agents, so I'm sure there will be so much improvement, and we are just getting there.